Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War with the Great War mod. Last time around we had some smaller skirmishes here and there, and I believe we also conquered some territories from the French. We ended the siege, we took Bordeaux, and then I believe we destroyed the enemy force over here. Since then, of course, I promised you the Battle of Paris. Unfortunately, I have had quite a bit of trouble getting this to work. For some reason, I've tried multiple ways of attacking Paris, but every time it ends up in a way where the French don't actually really fight back, or they do fight back, but I'm sitting at range with my siege gun blowing them completely to shreds. Normally, the normal Napoleon AI, and works in this I believe as well, is when you target artillery, it kind of triggers the cavalry to come at you. That doesn't happen. When you attack cavalry units specifically with artillery, it usually triggers them to come at you and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem to happen, and they don't move at all, and when they finally do start to move, it's in a way that they simply don't know you're there almost. They start to move and make a line go to a completely different area. So it's really odd in that way. So what I'm planning to do is I'm hoping I can work around that just by ending turn. Now that might make me end up in a worse position than before, but that's the way that I kind of see it happening, because otherwise the Battle of Paris is going to be very anticlimactic, with it basically being an execution where I shoot them to pieces. I have some idea what it is, but I can't really figure out what exactly, because I noticed that, well, in the French area here, there's about 5,000 troops. So under Karabolov, there's about 1,000, and then there's about 1,600, I think, under the Crown Prince. When Burlov moves forward, they don't intercept him. He's able to actually lay siege to Paris and cut off the reinforcements of half of the French forces. So I'm able to fight it against just half, 2,500 men defending the town, and bring all of my troops. While if the Crown Prince is the first to attack, they do intercept him. So I'm kind of curious why that is. If there's some, I don't know what it is really that's able to get this fat Jabba the Hutt looking fellow to be able to squeeze through while the Crown Prince isn't able. So what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna end turn and then see if I can go in. Otherwise, I guess Battle of Paris will have to be anticlimactic, with me just cutting them down, and the real battle is going to be when these forces around here counterattack towards Paris. But with that said, I'm going to end turn, see if that works out. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and attack. Intellectual advance, mass propaganda. I'm not sure why I said mass propaganda. Workers on strike in Aquitaine. That's going to change as the army moves in. Will that be fine? Then these guys are able to move up as well. Join the force. We have another rebellion in Belgium. A little bit not as large as the last one. Same kind of troops. Guides, civic guards and mortars. Nothing the force at the station shouldn't be able to should be able to handle that pretty easily. Thief Taker, very nice. First transcontinental telephone call, very good. New York City. Where are they calling to? Somewhere in Europe. Anyways, okay, so the French, they're moving in to protect Paris, so that's good. That's good. Maybe a little bit too good, because there's a lot of them. Maybe I should wait for reinforcements. I'm not sure. That's a lot. Troops. So I have about not enough. And they have tons. I'm gonna move this force forward. And then I guess we move the Crown Prince in first. We'll see if they intercept. They do. They do. They're able to bring in extra more troops. They've got their own siege guns coming in as reinforcements. So this is quite the fight. I have a little more troops than I had last time, but it's still around just a little more than 3,000 men. It's like 3,000 what? 3,400 men compared to the enemy, which also gained troops, but a lot more, and especially worrisome is the siege cannon. With that said, let's go ahead and see if we can't win this battle, and also see if the enemy wishes to fire upon us this time around. That would be lovely. And so here we are on the field of battle. It looks like they have set up like they've done in previous battles, so that's not very encouraging that this might end up just like the other failed battles of Paris. But we'll see. I have gone ahead and placed myself down on the more left side of the map, as I'll be concentrating my artillery on just half of their artillery. We've got well within range of these troops and out of range of these. I'm gonna move the troops that are around the cannons first, but we are about to kick this off and see if this worked out. I'm actually going to move these guys forward. Can't really see any movements on the enemy side, so it seems like it's not really worked. I can see one cavalry unit moving forward, but that's about it. The artillery is not deploying. The infantry is not moving. And currently we're just... I mean, it's a little improvement, because Lancer unit for some reason is decided to attack. But no other unit. One thing that I forgot was to change at what troops come onto the field. The siege guns will come on though, so that's good. I don't really need the general, and it's just risk he dies. I need troops. We're gonna set up the siege. I thought they were moving. It's a bit of a shame. I don't know why it happened in this battle. And like, no at the battle. Oh, now they started moving. But it's, yeah, it's one of those things again where you see they're not really moving against me. They're just moving kind of to reposition. So yeah, unfortunately the battle is fucked. Let's move forward to end the misery of the French as soon as possible. And we'll hope for better luck of the French next time around. Oh no, the general is bugged. He didn't retreat the right way, did he? I'm hoping the actual general part of the unit left the field. So he's not there, so it's just stupid bodyguard units, 12 bodyguard units moving towards the enemy. Right. Hold position and start opening fire. And these field guns are not really necessary. The infantry needs to get up onto the high hill to be able to match the French movements. Looks like the French reinforcements, though, could possibly... they could actually do some harm, possibly. I thought maybe they didn't... they weren't really gonna make much difference. But they are, actually. Not really attacking, though. Oof. Just shot down loads of our own. plus then the hussars shooting. So we get a little bit of an attack going among the French, but nowhere near what I would have liked to see. Oh yeah, forgot the artillery piece is gonna do the same, right? Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't tell these guys to retreat then, but it's kind of too much with so many artillery pieces. Get up onto the hill with the rest of them. Should really be kind of focusing on the cavalry, which is coming in quite rapidly here. So this unit is being assaulted by French hussars. You should pull back. Or maybe not. Everyone here should pull forward. And then we'll shoot everyone that comes in now, the reinforcement army. And then the rest of these will start to swing up to hit this unit. And you should pull back a little bit. And as that unit is destroyed, you'll pull back and join the corner. Ooh, I think the siege artillery is opened up. And it's opening up on the cavalry over there. Let's just get to the main kind of point here on this hill. This battle could have been really interesting if the AI would have actually fought me, but for some reason, not entirely sure what happened, but they the French goofed up, as it were. Oh, here comes the French field artillery. Kind of split my army here in multiple sections, attacking all over. Something I wouldn't dare do if the enemy was actually being competent in fighting back. Push you forward and then set up. Right now it's a single unit of Zouave being able to hold up my entire line. They blend in a little bit. They blend in a little bit with the white pants. My troops wondering what is going on. What are these genies? They're hovering above the snow. Well, it probably doesn't melt in that well with the surrounding, but a little bit better than the others. Right, move another step forward. You know what? Let's pull back and just wait for this guy to come in. Otherwise, he'll hit the ridge just as all these 3 units will be able to lay down fire upon him. We'll set up these 2 to be facing that way, and then these as the dragoons slowly being cut to pieces. Should advance on them. Oh, we've got 1 unit moving pretty rapidly. I want the siege gun to target these units. Maybe I do need to send reinforcements down here. There is of course tons of enemies coming that way. Just in case that's needed, I'll put the Lancers right here. Yeah, I might not need to send that many troops this way anymore. We got 3 in the side of the woods there. I might need to send these 2 back here. Even though we are hitting these guys just as they come out onto the field. Still doing a lot of... oof, I forgot to stop this advance, but even with that, cavalry is getting absolutely destroyed. It's the heavy siege gun hitting these guys. Not as much as I would have hoped. Now we're getting some flank fire from some chasseurs. Not that nice. I was just coming in here to destroy every enemy in the forest. We are getting hit a little bit over here. I might actually want to pull these guys back just a little bit. 33, that's good. There's more and more French units coming out here. It's a little bit starting to become a little bit worrisome. Kind of risky here to charge in. But I'm gonna tell these guys to hold fire. And then I will be able to... Ooh, the Marines open up on us. We're gonna hold fire. And then we're gonna see about Lancers sweeping through.
Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Gonna break the morale there a little bit. Pull back. And as they pull back, we open fire. Broke the momentum a little bit there of the enemy. Same time we kinda won that fight. Now we need to get up onto the hill and attack these guys. Oh, you're shooting at a stupid artillery piece? As that's no point. Should be fighting these guys. So it became a little bit of a fight still. Quite an offensive fight as we were moving all around. Oh, yeah. As I suspected, that unit would move in on us as I moved forward. At the same time, what a massacre this turned out to be. French troops turning up here, walking straight into a meat grinder. Cavalry unit actually rallied. Kind of the... I don't think they killed that many, but I'd still call that a pretty successful cavalry charge. Oh, the enemy over there are done for. Not as intense as I thought the Battle of Paris was going to be. But there we have it. French forces were destroyed and the Battle of Paris took less than 10 minutes. And they lost thousands of men. Hopefully this isn't a recurring bug. I think it's probably something to do with Paris or the armies around there. And it's not something that we'll see in the future. Not that I'm superstitious, but maybe it could have something to do with the fact that that battle replay was the 13th battle replay that I'd saved. So maybe it had something to do with that. Although, very unlikely. Line infantry, the highest killers. Quite high losses here on some of these units. But also high kills. Then we got field gun coming in here. I'm interested to see what... Oh, here's the siege gun. Did quite a lot. I'm interested to see what the cavalry did. So here we got the Ulan. They actually only killed 18 while losing 51. But I think the morale shock of that charge kind of broke up that battle or that area a bit. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out when it comes down to when I actually can look at it in the replay. Might work out quite differently. But there we have it. Out of our army of 3,400, we lost 1,000. The enemy, out of their 5,500 men, lost 5,120, leaving only 500 men remaining. 500 men remaining, I should say. Men's remaining sounds weird. We should move forward to lay siege. It's a pretty straightforward out-resolve, I'd say. There's a risk some of the very smallest units might die. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I guess the big thing is going to be the counterattack. The big fight is going to be the counterattack. So it might... you know what? I'll save and out-resolve. Just to see if... You know, if I lose too many men, I'll play it. Just because I'm gonna need everything I can to the 3 full stacks that are coming up from the south. Okay, as far as I can see, we didn't lose any troops. Or not any, we didn't, like, no unit got destroyed. That's what I meant to say. We lost 255. A lot of it seems to somehow landed on the crew of the field. Or the siege cannon, for some reason. Usually is that way. But of 3,000 of the shit militia defending the town, all of it died. And we lost 255 men, most of which were lost. I imagine we'll see the... How many... Oh, yeah, maybe a siege gun lost 5. Still quite high, given that it's so far back in the line. But there we have it. Paris is now ours. I can loot it. And I'll gain 20,000. The region wealth will drop quite drastically though. Instead I should occupy it. So the wealth still fell quite a bit. I think they had like, wasn't it 15,000 or something like that? I think it was higher actually, now when I think about it. One of the things which bugs me about Napoleon is when you do a normal battle on your own, you maybe gain 1 ancillary or something like that for your generals. Do an auto-resolve and you get like, in this case you get 4. And it's also usually not for the general that is leading the battle or the one that is first in. It's usually for the one that's kind of backing up. Had to sneeze mid-sentence, but let's try to continue roughly where I was, if I haven't lost my train of thought. So yeah, the interesting thing about that is the trains are never attributed to the general that's actually leading the out-resolve. It's usually attributed to the one that's backing up, in this case Karl Bulov, which is just backing it up, and in this case I imagine most of these trains are actually going to him. So the first one, artillerists, no surprise because maybe he's got the siege, yeah, and then attacking general, he gets that as well. Crown Prince, okay. Just remember I'm right behind you. Okay, so that's not very nice. About 30 miles behind you in Paris. Yes, that actually works out, doesn't it? 30 miles in Paris. Yes, we are in fact in Paris. I think it's a Blackadder quote, right? From when he's in World War One. I can't remember what he's called. The general. Percival is the other guy. Anyways, in this case it was actually evenly split in between the two. We have a lot of enemies coming at us. It's going to be interesting to see. We've got Joffre. And do we have any other interesting generals? Gonna move him as much as I can. We're getting some resupply. We're obviously gonna have to fight the Belgians. The region is very unhappy. Arc de Triomphe got damaged in the fighting. Not very nice of us to shoot at that. But with that we can kind of also tell that the ground forward here is completely open. And this army should make its way. Let's see, it was infantry that made it in last, right? Or no, it was the entire force. What I should do is I could leave the cavalry. That's what I could do. I imagine that's enough to hold it down. Barely. But that means that I will be 3 turns away from taking the Bretagne region. And this will only last for a turn, so that's nice. And there we have it. We have captured most of France. They only have 2 regions left. They're desperate. They're desperate at this point to marching back and retaking Paris. Such a shame that the battle became such a flop. I'll start to repair the stuff already. Okay, what it looks like is this one might be ready before the attack, but the Triumph and the airfield not. That also means that my aircraft is free to move where I don't really see what's going on, which is over here. Can spy a little bit on English fleet in the Channel. So really, to the north of us, it's only this small force. And then we got French naval forces. Are they built? Have they started building naval forces here? That's quite interesting. How much more money do I make per turn? Not that much, actually. I guess this hasn't kicked in. I'm not getting that much from Paris right now. I will be in the future, though. But right now, I'm only getting 2,000. Which isn't that much compared to what we get out of Berlin. Actually, we get only 1,300 out of Berlin. So we do get more out of Paris. But eventually we'll get tons as I upgrade this region. I wonder if the French would accept the ceasefire. It would be kind of, if that wouldn't really work out, would it? And those armies would starve and destroy and wouldn't be... Like, I need a major fight around Paris, don't I? So being the counterattack. It's going to be interesting because not a lot of units will be actually be ready for that fight. I should possibly merge some of these infantry units. And as someone actually pointed out in the comments, I kind of made a, as he called it, a Moltke mistake by sending too many troops east, where they're very much needed on the Western Front. If I still had... Which force? It wasn't this one, it's this one. If I'd still had this one on the Western Front, I could, it would be a completely different thing, wouldn't it? Also, the Russians, even with winter, are deciding to march in and just... I can't imagine how many troops the Russian AI is just letting starve everywhere. But with that said, I think I'm gonna end it right here. I think I've got enough for one video. But yeah, once I end turn here, it's gonna be interesting to see as the French counterattack on Paris. Is this? Yeah, it is working. So that's nice, but I guess it's not until the small barracks are ready. It's gonna be, if the French wait and they hold off and just let the revolt take place, they'll get, you know, 2 full stacks at least, and suddenly I'm not faced with 3 French full stacks, but 5. But I think the French are so desperate, they'll probably throw their troops in right immediately to fight me. But it looks like I'll be kicking France out of the fight pretty soon. All the Western troops on the Western Front will be turned against Italy instead. Hopefully the Austrians will join me in this fight. And then hopefully the snow will go away. And we'll be able to march into Russia. But yeah, I'm a little bit, like, I don't want to keep kicking a dead horse, but I'm still a little bit bummed out by this fight we had here. I was hoping for something more spectacular, but given the situation that I'm in, I guess this works out well, because now when I look at it, I kind of realized, you know, even with the AI being as handicapped as they were in this battle, I still lost 1,000 men. And there's, I mean, how many more thousands of French troops are there? My armies probably would have been destroyed if I hadn't done it, if the AI hadn't done it in this way. So it's kind of foolhardily to throw my forces against Paris that soon, especially with so many French forces close by. I do have quite a bit of money, so we'll be able to recruit quite a bit of reinforcements here and there, but yeah. Enough talking, though. Probably most of you have already tuned out or moved over to take a look at the end video, the end cinematic of this. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.
Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.